From the beginning, we were wrong. And only now have we begun to understand the mistakes we have made. We should have foreseen what might be born on this rising tide. What force might awaken.
I was an explorer once. Captain Sam Stone of the Surveyor. It was good. Hell, it was awesome. The truth is, they don't care about who we used to be or what we wanted to do. If they thought this was gonna be easy, they came to the wrong fucking planet. War!
Peggy 16.
Your brother was lost thanks to the deceit and treachery of your enemies. Now, the weight of your bloodline lies on your shoulders. Be thankful to your enemies for they teach you the ways to power. You must learn the ways of commerce and combat, but never fight with swords when a dagger will do. Keep your enemies close. The first step in avoiding the trap is knowing it is there. Real strategy requires cunning. Remember that, and your dynasty will rule this land through the ages.
Marvel's Avengers seems to be trying a little too hard to please everyone. It's both a set-piece driven, action-packed, explosive single-player adventure, while also balancing an intrinsically tied cooperative mode with a complex loot system at its core. Its seasoned cast of voice talent does a tremendous job breathing new life into these familiar characters, and the overall story benefits from it.
Cap was murdered!
You think I don't know that? I've replayed that day in my head 1,000 times.
The combat is mostly fun and flashy, though sometimes a little too frantic. But while some folks may be hungry for a fully fleshed out campaign with interesting characters and varied missions, others may be looking for a looter-shooter style grindfest with friends. After playing the beta, I'm currently a bit concerned Marvel's Avengers may not be able to satisfy either craving.
You can't what? You're ditching me?
Hey, don't take it personally, kid. No, this is what he does. This was a mistake.
The beta's opening Golden Gate Bridge mission is the one we've all seen, but it's fun, bombastic, and it introduces you to each Avenger. It's a great opener and sets the tone for how wild this game can be. The second available mission sees Ms. Marvel and Hulk infiltrating an AIM base housed in a very nice looking overgrown jungle area. It slows things way down, giving Kamala and Bruce a chance to banter and build their characters. Kamala is a spunky Avenger superfan who is stoked to be on these missions, while Bruce takes on more of a mentor role. I hate to say that I got Last of Us vibes, possibly because Bruce is played by Troy Baker, but I got Last of Us vibes. The third mission, however, is what worries me about what the full campaign could end up becoming. It's labeled as a story mission, but it's more of an introduction to the multiplayer than anything. It's another infiltration mission, but you get to choose who you play as this time around, and unfortunately, all those tailored character moments vanish as both Hulk and Ms. Marvel become more like blank avatars to get you through the mission. It's unfortunate, and I'm not necessarily harping on the idea of these smaller multiplayer missions being sprinkled into the campaign. I just love the well-acted character moments more and hope those persist throughout the story. Once you've completed the 3 story missions available, the War Table opens up, giving you a full array of multiplayer missions to take on to power up your heroes. They vary slightly, but most involve infiltrating a building and killing waves of enemies while performing tasks such as standing on control points or destroying data servers. While they got repetitive fairly quickly, switching up my hero choices would often breathe new life into them. For now, the heroes are varied enough to be unique. Each Avenger is equipped with 3 special abilities that run on a cooldown. The way each hero dodges and blocks also adds an element of strategy I didn't expect at first. While someone like Iron Man will simply dodge an incoming enemy attack, Ms. Marvel will instead opt to push the enemy with her giant polymorphed hands. Playing as Black Widow, you can time dodges to unleash unlocked abilities or even counter an enemy with well-timed parries. The real fun comes from picking the character that suits your playstyle. I started with Black Widow, but felt the combat was a bit too frantic to get the most out of her, so I instead switched to Iron Man, who takes on a more ranged approach. Luckily, you can switch out your hero as often as you like between missions, allowing you to hone in on who fits you best. But keep in mind though, if you do switch out your character with one that's not been leveled up, you may need to lower the difficulty or choose easier missions until that hero gets up to snuff. That said, there are a few drawbacks to the overall multiplayer system. First off, you can't double up on any heroes. While this makes sense on paper, in reality, it means there will need to be some discussions if you plan on teaming up with the same group of friends, which can be an issue if some of your heroes aren't as leveled up as others. There's also the scary potential scenario where you've built up an amazing Black Widow, but it turns out the main character of a person you want to play with down the line is also Black Widow, forcing one of you to switch to a less powerful alternate. Of course, a worse long-term problem that will need to be solved: what happens when a new DLC character is released and everyone wants to try them out at the same time? Conversely, as fun as it is to team up with your friends and take on missions, it can be almost equally as frustrating when matchmaking with random folks. Marvel's Avengers offers nothing in the way of communicating with your fellow heroes if they're not wearing a chat headset. There's no ping system, minimap, or teammate indicator. And since a lot of these infiltration missions begin in wide open areas, losing track of your no voice chat teammate is bound to happen. When you're stuck on the ground as Ms. Marvel and your random teammate is zooming around as Iron Man, odds are great that you're going to lose each other quickly with no real way to communicate what each other is up to. But Marvel's Avengers' most glaring issue, at least during the beta, is its gear system. The real draw to get people to grind these endless war zones is the chance to loot something great. And so far, I haven't cared about a single thing that's dropped for me. First off, none of it changes the actual look or feel of your character. Every item is an invisible piece that just counts up to an overall gear score. You may find a pair of gloves that slightly improve your normal attacks, but most of these just offer elemental bonuses and are almost invisible in the actual gameplay. When your gear screen has a button that you can press that just automatically equips the highest number of gear you have, it definitely makes it seem as though there are few meaningful choices to be made. Everything drives to a single power level number, and when so many games have solved the uninteresting way to sort through loot, it's a tad disappointing to feel like you've gone back in time. Marvel's Avengers has a long way to go. The stories and characters are interesting, and I actually can't wait to see it through. The campaign missions in the beta seemed varied enough, and hopefully that keeps up. And while live service games often come with the adage of it's not how they launch, it's what they become, I'm worried that there's currently very little that would keep my interest to play past the campaign. With a slew of promised, completely free updates and a nearly limitless amount of source material to make additional content from, Marvel's Avengers could end up being great, or it could very quickly get Thanos snapped from its community's mind. For more on Marvel's Avengers, check out July's War Table to see exactly what's coming up in the beta. And of course, for everything else Avengers, keep it here on IGN.
Peggy 12.